For sure.
And if I didn't have glasses or contact lenses, I wouldn't know what my son looks like.
Yeah. And you definitely want to know what you're saying. He's cute.
Isn't he the cutest?
He is so cute.
He is the best.
Yeah.
I can turn any conversation back around to my son.
For sure. I mean, you might as well. He's adorable.
Yeah, it's
But
your world, man.
Right. I think my real journey into being more self-aware and where I want to be started 2 years ago. And that was after I had been laid off from my dream job, because technically they terminated the position completely and put it together with something else. Mm-hmm. And then 6 months later, my live-in boyfriend left. We got in a fight, and he left, and then he literally disappeared.
Well,
and
like a magician?
Kinda.
Just like,
yeah.
Now you see me, now you know.
Did he
Yep,
die?
No.
You know my dream job.
He's the one who actually listened to the podcast, and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to make you cry so much. I was like, okay, well, maybe one thing is to not just turn your phone off and then send me a letter and disappear completely.
Yeah,
I mean, that might be a cool thing. But after that, I actually really went and started working my ass off. I was a catering coordinator. And I was like, I want to be the best catering coordinator ever. I did not sleep. I was taking calls all the time. I did not have a social life.
That seems counterproductive to being a good caterer.
best.
Right.
To being the best. You got to sleep.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But I didn't know that.
I took a 5-minute nap while we're recording this podcast.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
It's exhausting to be woke 100% of the time.
It really is. And some people are so woke, I want to slip them an Ambien. You know what I mean? It's just too much.
Dude, I'm like, even crackheads need sleep, yo.
For sure.
Some people are just too woke.
Eat a sandwich, take a nap.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Speaking of naps, that would be my dream job. Hammock tester.
Oh, dude.
Right?
Yeah.
Can we make that a thing?
I would love
I
it.
think there is a thing. I'm sure that's a thing.
There's got to be, right? Because
Right.
there's got they can't just make a hammock and send it out
Right.
willy nilly.
Oh,
You would
I'm
think
sure.
there's
You
gotta
have
be
to
somebody.
shower 8 times a day, and
Well, that's fine if it's on
I
company
mean, I
time.
think that would be living your
Yeah.
best life right there.
Right?
absolutely.
I'd be so clean
Was
and
there
so rested.
pina coladas and stuff?
That would be
involved?
dope.
Sand.
Can't get caught
In
in the
my
rain
toes.
though. I'm sorry.
For sure.
I
Love
keep
it.
taking us off on tangents.
No, you're fine. So fault and responsibility, though, when you sent that out, I was like, oh, God, this is something that I have been mulling over.
Really?
Yeah, so it was like, of course, this is great. It's, fault versus responsibility.
I'm going to say something real quick.
Yeah.
And to you guys and to our listeners, I'm not a very religious person. And when I use the term God, I use it very loosely,
Yeah.
okay? Like universe, source, whatever, okay? But there's a really great quote. Coincidences are God's way of remaining anonymous. So, I saw this as a topic, and I was like, this is speaking to me right now. Hopefully, we can get some shit out of it. You know? So that's awesome to hear that it hit home for you, too.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
Was there a thought you had about it in particular right now that you wanted to share with?
Versus responsibility. Now, I mean, when I saw it, I was like, oh, let's talk about fault versus responsibility, right? And I think when I was listening to what Will Smith was saying, it was what? You can drive yourself. I don't know. You probably know a little bit more. I also I wrote that quote, that thing that I just said, right before I started listening to the Will Smith thing, so I may have fallen asleep by the end of it. So,
Yeah.
But I was listening to all of it, and I was like, yeah, this is great. Now I'm
Kind of give
Okay.
me the basis of what you're thinking, because I know it pretty
wasn't
well.
he very much saying, you can say, oh, it's this person's fault and that person's fault, but then you also need to take responsibility for yourself and how you're reacting to that.
Yeah.
Right?
How it might not be your fault that your father was an alcoholic and beat you, but it is your responsibility to make the best out of the situation after the fact.
And not become a victim.
Yeah, and not go down that victim
Right.
road. And
Right. Absolutely. Yes, this has been a very, that has been a very big thing on my mind. Because I have not had the greatest past And I always bring it back to relationships because that's kind of where it's always been. I've been a very social person. I like to have friendships. I like to have relationships. But I also very much am learning that there was a time where I felt like if I was in a relationship, then that validated me as a human and a worthy person,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But then they said, I don't know if you've gone over this already, but like when you're in a certain state, then you attract certain people, right?
Like attracts like.
Right,
We haven't
exactly.
actually
So
talked
I'm
about that a
having,
whole lot, but
yeah. So I have always had some turmoil. I've always felt very much like I wasn't worthy, but I really wanted to be worthy. So then that really attracted people who take advantage of other people.
right.
Toxic people, I don't know. And so I haven't had the best track record nor relationships romantically, and sometimes not even friendships either. And there has been a point in time, and just until recently, just until about 2 years ago when I'm starting to really focus on myself and how I had to take responsibility for myself. I said, I'm tired. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of feeling sad all the time. I'm tired of feeling frustrated all the time. I'm tired of feeling tired all the time. So, like, what can I change in myself? And a lot of it was, okay, the stuff happened, and I can sit here and I can play victim, and I can be sad about this all the time. And it was, there was some really shitty things that happened. But I think I'm ready. I'm strong enough to start working through that and start taking responsibility of what I can do right now and move forward,
Right.
as opposed to sitting back. Because I have definitely been guilty of being more comfortable in a victim mentality.
Well,
Yeah.
what's that quote? It's something like you can be a person who lets things happen to you, or you can be a person who makes things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Right.
That's
I think that might have been Kanye West.
Oh gosh,
Well,
I hope
if
it's not Kanye West.
if it was
Yeah.
Kanye
Right.
West, I'm pretty sure that he stole it
Yeah,
from,
exactly. He probably got
from
it from someone
Leonardo
DiCaprio?
No, not DiCaprio. the artist.
Da Vinci.
Da Vinci?
Yeah, Da Vinci, not him, but his mentor.
Mm.
It's like Artemis or
Archimedes? No,
No,
I don't know.
Archimedes was an
I
owl.
don't know. No. No.
I mean
No.
he was.
It was. Archimedes
Yeah.
was an owl for somebody.
I mean,
like if somebody's
Sword
owl.
in the Stone. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Thank
sure.
you.
Yeah.
Sword in the Stone.
We're here.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are.
There we go.
Movies like that, I got you.
Boom.
Kanye
Personal growth.
West lyrics got nothing.
Nice.
Personal
Nice.
growth.
Yeah.
Bitches.
But I also feel like there's a time too, because I was also looking at this where sometimes that is just where you have to be. Like you're in this victim role, and it's the safest place for you to be at that moment. I don't know
Right.
how to explain it.
No, I totally get it.
But the thing is that everybody moves differently through the world, right?
Uh-huh.
And my hope is always that people are trying to grow and change and learn.
You would think.
I'm coming to realize that is not the case
Oh.
for a lot of people, but that's okay. That's
You also can't judge somebody else's beginning on
Right.
your middle.
right, exactly.
And like something that you said about being in these relationships that have a tendency to be more towards toxicity and
Mhm.
stuff, you recognizing that you needed to see some stuff within yourself that you could change. It reminded me of like this idea of if you are living in a house and you are a filthy person, clean up after yourself, and like there's dishes that pile up and you never sweep the floor, and if you thought to yourself, I need a new house, and then this wouldn't happen, then you move into a new house, and then those same behaviors that you had there come into the new house, and then soon you got another filthy house.
Right.
It's like I need to learn how to do that deep cleaning regardless of where I'm living, and that same kind of thing you need to take into your
Right.
personal life.
Right, absolutely. And what I used to do is run and move. And
To
so I'd
new
be
house.
like, yeah, I mean, really,
Literally and-
literally,
Literally, and
I would do
figuratively.
that. I would, I'd be like, this is really hard right now. I'm having a really hard time. And I have the capability to move and run away from this, and I'll just go to this place, and I will make it all new again.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it did not happen every time.
Well, that's so strange because usually that's the best thing to do.
It's just run from your
It's
problems,
usually, I mean, it's
I mean-
so much easier to run.
right?
It's like Linkin Park wrote a whole song about it.
The weird
Can
thing
you
is
sing
that
it?
you can't run from yourself, right? I'm sure there's a song about that too, Eric.
Probably. I don't know. Maybe.
Come on, where's
who
the-
am I? What am I? The song
Probably.
doctor?
Yes.
Probably Allison. James.
Most likely.
But I mean, that was the whole thing. Everything it really has been in me. So moving somewhere else, then it was just kind of like, oh, this is fun, and things are going good for a while, and then it slowly
catch up
starts
to yourself.
to creep back in, and yeah,
That's
and then it
that's
just
a real
like
thing.
yeah, and that's also why I quit drinking too, because I would use a lot of I would self medicate quite a bit with alcohol. And so I was like, you know what? This is expensive. It hurts my
Yep.
stomach.
Yep.
I'm waking up and I don't feel great. I'm already not feeling good. So maybe this is a time for me to just like see how things could go without alcohol.
That's how I felt about liposuction.
Really?
Hurt my stomach.
Yeah.
Expensive. Didn't feel great.
Well, then you didn't go to Utah and get all those crazy discounts, you know?
You can get discounts on liposuction in Utah. Is that
Oh.
what Anna Nicole Smith did?
Probably.
I don't know. Anyway, sorry. I'm sorry, podcast listeners. I'm very tired today. It's been a long weekend. I apologize if I'm not.
Quit up on your personal growth game?
How
Personal
was
growth.
How was improv on Friday? Did you do improv on Friday?
No,
I thought you did.
Shit.
no. I did a show at the
Oh, yeah.
at Craft Brewers of
Okay,
Boise.
so it
For the
wasn't-
last 2 days.
It wasn't improv.
It was Friday and
okay.
Saturday night. Yeah.
How'd that go?
It was fun.
Yeah?
It was a good time.
I like crappers.
I got to close out the show last night, and that was fun. It was. I had noticed over the course of the show that it was a bit of a tight crowd. Like they were laughing, but like it took a little work.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got up there, I just started like picking on people,
Yeah.
and that kind of brought everybody into it because I feel like sometimes in those types of situations, you need to like let the audience feel like you're not just talking at them.
Yes.
You're talking to them. So there was like a table of like gym people.
Like bros.
No. Like they all work at a gym.
Okay.
Oh.
And
Oh, was it another comics friend?
yes,
Okay.
yeah, it was
Uh-huh.
another comic on the show.
Yeah.
His work people were at the thing. So I just started like
Okay.
picking them out. Like I pointed at one guy. I was like, "How'd you even get that shirt on?" All the Vaseline in the Treasure Valley is at this guy's house. And like it you know,
Yeah.
and then I went, "I'm sorry, don't hurt me. I have a child. I'm just telling jokes." And so it was, it was fun. It was a whole thing. It was a good weekend.
Good. But tiring.
Tiring, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been fighting something the last few days too.
Like a cold.
Something. Like I went home. I left at work early yesterday because I was just like, "You got to send me home. I should not be in a hospital right now."
Right.
Yeah.
Which you would think
They'd
is
be
like
okay with?
counterproductive because if I'm sick, that's where you go. But like, no,
No.
because I'm,
You-
delivering food and such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
To other sick people.
yeah,
You don't want to
and
get
I-
your sickness on
spent-
their food.
exactly. And I spent all day asleep for the most part today, so I'm just I'm a little foggy.
All right.
So if I'm
That's
not
all
up to
right.
my usual standard, I apologize.
I think you're on your A game right now.
Nice. Personal growth, baby. Faking the funk.
Sweet. Sweet.
So, dang it, my little notes disappeared.
Oh, well, I have this thing, and it says fault versus responsibility. Okay, we started that. Stuck in victim road.
We kind of
Mode? Road. Let's talk about this a bit. Have we felt stuck? Did we already go over that?
No, we didn't. We
And-
did. We started,
And
but we
like
didn't
the victim and how have we overcome
guys,
those
there's
feelings?
no need to argue. Parents just don't understand.
Yeah.
Nirvana.
Will Smith.
Damn it.
Nirvana.
We did this last time when I brought it. Okay.